Here's Obi. Interested in the squirrel up there. I'm Scott. I'm up at Point Ann. Today I'm going to talk for a minute about the fact that the Mississippi River, little towns like McGregor, talk about that bridge that you can see in between the power lines there that goes across the Mississippi River, the power lines themselves that are traveling this way. If you know the Mississippi River at all, or spend any time on the Mississippi River, you know that it is a highway for transportation of goods, as well as power, and it's also a recreational area. So if you look, that's Prairie Sheen right over there. That's the East Channel bridge that I'm pointing to, kind of the end of my finger. That's the East Channel. That's McGregor Lake, or the Horseshoe, right there. And this is the main channel. Down just a little bit, which you can't really make out very well, there are some barges sitting along the side of the river. And I'll go up here a little bit. I'll even walk backwards for you. Obi follows me along, but you can see there the Mississippi River Bridge at Marquette, which is currently being worked on, and beyond that is a barge and tow, or a tug with a bunch of barges, one of them, and then there's another one on that side. So the Mississippi itself is again a highway, but also the riverway has, in this case, at this point on the Mississippi, has a railroad track on both sides. So on this side is the Canadian Pacific line, which is right down by those barges. On that side it's the Burlington Northern, which is an even bigger, heavier used one. These barges are being filled here with grain coming from the silo that I showed you just a minute ago that used to be owned by Bunge, but I don't even know who bought it now. So the amount of material, agricultural and otherwise, that moves up and down this river is amazing. It's why Prairie Sheen, Marquette, and McGregor are here. Those hills there run along what is the Wisconsin River, which meets the Mississippi just beyond those trees, and you can't see it from right here. You can from Pike's Peak's main overlook, but you can't from right here. So the Wisconsin River Valley, which is essentially what, people first used, European people, first used to get to the Mississippi from the Great Lakes. They portaged at Portage into the Wisconsin Riverway, including Marquette and Joliet, and they came down to Prairie Sheen, and then traveled onward. So, discovering for white people, I guess, or European people, the Mississippi Riverway, and turning it into a highway, which it already was, but at that point it was, a highway for white European commercialism. So at the beginning there were lots of furs and other clams, meat, lots of natural resources, wood coming down this river. And then now it hasn't changed a whole lot, but it's more agricultural and less animal based. So still a highway for railroads to follow the valley itself, and because it is a place where all kinds of towns and therefore silos end up. So like barges unload here into trains, or trains unload into barges, or semis unload into silos and store their produce until the barges or trains are able to carry it. And then because of all that, oftentimes these power lines end up along the riverways too. So you'll notice that if you pay attention. Also pipelines. So there's a pipeline that goes under the Mississippi, downriver from here a ways. And that's an old power line base there that is no longer in use. But so even this town, Prairie Sheen, was a place where people lived thousands of years ago, as far as we know, settled this area. The first native people here, I'm not aware of an actual certain date, but again, lots and lots of traffic on this river, commercial and recreational. That looks like a fishing boat or just a pleasure boat. There are two of them. So this place is a busy place, beautiful place with lots and lots of uses. And as I've talked about before, you can also notice the dead trees out on the islands right now that have been killed by high waters because of climate change and the fact that our area has seen unprecedented amounts of rainfall in huge rain events. All those things put together, create an ecosystem that is, used by all kinds of people and has to be shared. So the sharing part, sharing it with, the natural world and the things that are in the natural world along with humans and what humans want from it, that can become an issue. And that's part of the issue that has always been, even when we, as Europeans came here and took this land from the native people in a very unfair way. We now have built it up into our own little pleasure place and highway, and have changed the landscape very much by putting locks and dams in, and by attempting to control again the river and also the way that it works or is. So right now that lake, McGregor Lake or Horseshoe, as I grew up calling it, has a huge project underway to restore its depth because it's been filled in by sediment. So lots and lots of things happening all the time to, on, and around this river and river valley. Tons of things to think about and to talk about, but also, like I said, I guess to come back to the idea of cooperation or collaboration. That's a huge one to me, and it's important in conserving, in preserving this incredible resource for everyone. So hopefully we can do more of that in the future as a species, because humans happen to be pretty selfish. Not actually even just pretty, very selfish. So we tend to be incredibly selfish in the way that we do things. And I think we're starting to realize the implications and the repercussions and the consequences of that. And hopefully we do some things to change some of it in our near future. So with that, I'll let you think about the rest of things that are happening right now. Changes can be good things. We do need to conserve what we have, or it will be gone for our kids and their kids. So hope you're all still staying socially distant, wearing a mask, thinking about other people as well as yourself and their safety and health, and however, not staying too socially distant that you're socially isolated. Take care. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.